Roll call. Councilor, oh my God. Councilor Thurber, Deputy Warden Ross,
I'm here.
Manager of Corporate Services Coralie, Manager of Municipal Services Tyler, our CAO Jeff, and our Executive Assistant Taylor Robinson, and myself Linda. So I'd like us all to pause to seek guidance, please. Okay. The next is the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions?
Motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carries. The next, there is no presentations or delegations tonight. Great pen here. So, the minutes of March 12th, 2024, is there any errors or omissions anyone saw in those minutes?
I move approval of the minutes of March 12th. Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carries. The next is the CAO report. So, on the 16th is the audit, on the 23rd is council, on the 7th is bylaw and policy, on the 14th is committee of the whole, on the 21st there is no meeting, on the 30th of April there is no meeting, and on May 28th there is council. Any questions or concerns? Okay. And then we will look at the CAO update. With the CAO update, as you saw, there was several with no updates. So with coastal protection, there's still a lot of concern. What can I say? The mandatory planning, that bylaw went into effect as of April 1st. Accessibility Act, the province is expected to finalize the standards by the end of March. Once this has happened, we're going to begin to access our facilities over the next year. But again, there's no update. And on the rural internet, Evan has made progress with Bill Nova Scotia on this project, and he's just trying to get final confirmation from Bill. Cell coverage, as I mentioned, we had a call with Dave Benoit, the Executive Director of Bill Nova Scotia, regarding the recently announced provincial program to improve cell coverage. The program is focusing on no coverage areas. I made sure that Mr. Benoit understood that we are concerned about many poorly serviced areas. There's been no update. Is there any questions to the CAO about his report?
Good.
Yes.
The only thing I'd add that the REN continues to play a very active role in the cell file, so they are, I think they've concluded their second cellular survey and had even better results than the first survey. So they're starting to share those and help all the units in the Southwest build the case and share those with Bill. And I think Bill is coming in to talk to some of the CAOs and staff of the units in the Southwest just to understand better, because we were an area that wasn't really impacted in this round of programming, real small areas, but not as much as other areas of the province. So we'll see where that goes. Everyone has the same concern that this floor coverage or the reduction in coverage that we've seen isn't being discussed very much.
Yeah, you're going to see it next month starting to happen.
Okay. The next is the departmental report. Does anyone get any questions about any? keep going. I guess with Terry, when he commented about meeting again with the minister, which was a good thing, because he went to a meeting for it. But it was the generator. As they say, it's in excellent condition, which I thought was really good. And have we heard any more from the potential?
I think very positive that they've run some of the math on what will be required and how it fits. It's smaller. The business involved uses this big power user, but it's a very affordable option to help them reduce. So they're doing a bit more due diligence on fuel supplies to what they would have to burn in it. So work continues.
That's wonderful. So I think we are doing quite well. Is there any other questions for the departmental reports?
No. Oh, look good.
Okay. I just wanted to say, I think our staff is really busy. Now, on saying that, our next, under dangerous and unsightly, there is no presentations. Oh, sorry, can I have a motion to accept the departmental reports, please?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carries. I guess that's the time I wasn't thinking. The next, under business items, is the land use bylaw. We received back from Chris Millier what he felt about the comments that were questioned. It was a lot like status quo. What is the feelings of council?
We can't hear anything you say, Linda.
I've got this right next to me.
Okay.
Oh, I guess when I leaned that way to look over, sorry. Yes.
Well, I got a couple things. The first concern I believe was a misreading of the MGA, and I'm wondering if we could put in some sort of civics 101 into the coastline. Like when I first got elected, and I'm highly political, I read up on all these things. I'm a non-fiction junkie. I had no idea about the MGA until I sat down and read it. I couldn't even find something online that was like an MGA for dummies. I had to sit down and go through this. It was written decades and decades ago, and it was before the common English movement in law, like the idea they want things to be clear. I went to law school, and I still was like, what? You know what I mean? It's old, it's difficult. Maybe that would be something we could stick in. Explain how, the municipalities are creatures of the province, the role of the MGA, and maybe that would be something good. And for the second one, the second concern was debated with me and Chief Legal. If you recall, during the PAC meeting, both took the position against the fire inspections and inspecting houses because we were concerned about people, where people live, because there's I've stuck people in quite a few places, probably in desperate situations. However, after me and Keith, and we argued for, a half hour plus, we both changed our minds, and the reason we changed our minds is if we allow a building that is not fire safe and not inspected, and we sign off on it officially, and then there's a fire and people die. They say regulations aren't written in ink; they're written in blood. So for the second part, I do understand. And me and Keith argued, but both of us changed our minds because of the safety aspect. Like you guys, the general public's not aware of these intricacies. Like it was brought up and it was discussed at length in the PAC. Property, how's it go again? What's the PAC policy advisory committee? So those two things. I'd like to see something in the like a civics thing that explains how the Municipal Government Act works and the hierarchy of powers and what we are allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. And I'd like to see, well, and the second thing, I don't really know what to say, but I do understand, because I've put people in places that would be the dangerous, but that's also mitigated because we don't have, everything's complaint-based, right? So in the last 30 years, like, we have, these rules in the books, but there's no one's ever forced entry in anyone's house in 3 decades. Like, these things are, obscure parts of the MGA, and pretty much anything that has fire inspection is going to, like, the mall, for example, they said, oh, sorry, you can't inspect it, it's private property, you're not allowed in here. And, you see what I mean with the fire inspections and the safety part? And there's, like, for example, like, one of the things they brought up was those shipping containers. Like, you can move in a shipping container, however, it has to be signed off by an engineer. Like, it's, provincial things. Like, it is possible that as a provincial engineer, come take a look, say, oh, sorry, you can't put the heat by the door, you have to, so people can get away. Like, that sort of, those sorts of things.
It's a building code that we have to follow.
Yeah, it's not really, and I argued away. Me and Keith, and both of us changed our mind, and Keith was just as concerned about that as myself, because Keith also knows about people living in camps, living in sheds. I know about all those things, but you can't. It's not within our power to say we're not going to do fire inspections. We kind of can't do it. But I would suggest, if you're worried about housing, there is housing groups around, and I'm heavily involved. If you know somebody in a crisis situation, you can always refer them to me, and I've been able to find somewhere for people always. I've never not been able to find someone somewhere.
Okay, anyone else?
So those are my thoughts.
I just got a quick question.
You're not allowed to ask any questions.
Oh, I'm not allowed to ask
No.
a question.
This
Wow.
is a committee of the whole.
Just sit
David?
here quiet.
George, did you want to?
Oh, I didn't think I said it.
Okay. David's comment.
So we can put a thing in the MGA, they're not going to do the coastline, and but I really don't see what we can do about the safety inspections, because we would be liable if we signed off on something people die.
So, we're leaving it as status quo, is that what I'm hearing?
That was the advice
Okay.
as well. And
It was, but council has the right to make their comments. Okay, the Bear River parking lot. Now, I'll let you speak on that.
So there is ongoing discussions on the parking lot. So the parking lot maintenance and gravel, consider those discussions are going to take between myself and the Bear River Board of Trade. So just assess this application as it came in. Their programs that they're doing here are outside of the gravel and the maintenance side of that parking lot. So this application is all good. We are continuing to work on the parking lot with them. So we just kind of separated those two conversations moving forward.
So, then we would probably refer to our, bylaw and policy to the budget.
That, or it could be reviewed tonight, but we've gone through most of the grant requests
Okay.
already.
All right, I'll let David speak. and then
you're
we'll
asking
discuss.
for gravel, re-graveling? Is that correct?
No.
Oh,
No, that's what I said.
I
they're not asking
misunderstood.
for.
All right, good, because I thought that was washed away again.
No, so the gravel part of that parking lot, we own the parking lot. What they're looking for. Next page. Maybe next page. Yeah. There's no other option. Maybe one more page. Yeah. I think in there, in that first sentence, if your eyes are good enough to read it from there, I think they're looking at, this is more beautification. They're looking at the signage and the panels that were done in that project, and I think some flower beds around the parking lot. Yeah, and a bench. So that's the first phase of this project, or that piece of it. And then the second piece is there's a request for a night market. If we just go down to, I think it's item B. Yeah, right there.
That's a really good idea.
So, I don't have my laptop open. So how much are they asking for?
$2 grand. Wasn't it?
I thought it was 35.
35.
Oh, I thought it was
Back up to the front.
35
very
and
first
2, I
page.
thought. It was 2 separate requests. Am I wrong?
No, I think it's in total 35, David. But
Oh.
3,500 with the two.
Yeah. Okay, so, George,
I'm in favor of it. We've already put some money into it, quite a bit of money into it over the years with the gravel being washed out. And so if we can stop that, it is a gathering place for people or parking and flower beds and stuff. It is kind of a central location for the village. So I'm for it.
okay?
Yeah, I'm for it too, they wanna fix it up there, it's not for the gravel, so.
I'm definitely for it. They have,
As you
they
are.
did have one night market last fall and it was very successful, so I think it's gonna be a good addition to Bear River this year and.
Where do they have the night markets exactly? Just down
Yeah,
the main drag, like right there? On the-
It's back to the Legion actually.
Oh, okay, like, okay.
Border trade owns that property and, yeah, and like George said, the, parking lot is pretty much the central part of town on, the Digby side, so.
First thing you see,
And
then,
and it does need to be updated, the information on the, boards needs.
Yeah, they need to be updated, I agree.
I think that was 2015, 2016, so yeah,
It's time.
Yep.
And for me, my concern when we held off on this was we can't give a grant for putting gravel on our own property.
Yes.
That would be ridiculous. We would just pay for that ourselves. So now that we know for sure what it is, would someone like to make the motion that we would put in our budget the amount that we... Angela, are you gonna make the motion?
Yep, I'll make the motion. 25.
35.
3,500 for the Bear Border Trade.
Okay, and that will be, put on the budget, that's in place. So all in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried.
Oh, yeah. Just not in my district.
The next,
Just kidding.
the next is the Digby Fire Department air compressor. What they're asking, or what's come from the town CAO, is if we would be willing to, do is it 50-50 if I remember?
Yeah,
50-50 split.
So we've requested the clarification the council had asked for, we just haven't heard back.
Yeah.
So
So
we'll push this till council.
Yeah, I want to hear.
So can I have a motion to refer this to council?
How old is the old one?
It was,
Does it say on there something?
yeah, it did.
Yeah, it does, George.
20 years old and 18.
I thought it said,
18 years old, yeah,
18.
it's old.
And there's no warranty on the repair.
That's,
the other.
that's less than $3,000 a year that you can service all 11
Yep.
departments.
So-
Pretty good.
We don't
So, yeah,
know if
we
they
were
do or
just-
not.
so we're clarifying some things, so
Yeah.
I need it
So
to
we've
be
asked
referred
them-
to council.
We've asked them for clarity around how many departments exactly
Use it.
of our 11 get serviced with it. If there's a fee to the departments for the service, and if there's private sales taking place off of the compressor as well. So we're just waiting for those answers.
So I'll make a motion to put this on the, next council meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the Gaelic Nova Scotia month 2024. And what they have asked for,
Nova Scotia is the only jurisdiction in North America where the dominant ethnicity is Scottish.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
yeah. Okay, so what
Outside of Scotland, we're the only place in the world that's Scottish.
they want
Dominant.
to encourage overall agreement with the Gaelic culture in May 2024. And what they're asking is if you are planning an online or an in-person event to help advertise, if we would do that.
I don't see why we couldn't do that online, because I would that, sure.
But let's
Do,
look and see what we
Yeah,
can
put
do.
it online, do what they asked. There's a bit.
Is there any daily
Advertising.
activities in our region now, in our area, like in
The
Digby?
closest that I have heard is, I said, Annie Ganesh.
And there's one in Cape Breton.
And I don't think there's any down here, but I mean, we could refer this to Dart. I mean, put feelers out for those guys if they know of anybody that is doing anything like this.
We haven't
Help
also.
them, but I don't know of anybody.
I personally don't either,
I
but
don't know.
I, like David, I'd like to see us do something,
Yeah,
but we need to be able, especially online, because that's where it's gonna go out. But I need to,
yeah.
we need to think of what we could do.
Interestingly, in Ireland and Forgotten Gaelic largely, and they actually found they brought people from New Brunswick or from Cape Breton over to Ireland to relearn the language.
There's a way we can put this on our municipal website to see if there is a group out there that has taken part in this. This could help them do advertising for them. Like, that's what I'm trying to find, is a champion to do this. I don't know Gaelic, so I'm not going to be able to go online.
We have a ministry,
I mean-
ministry of
That's
Gaelic.
the thing, right? Like, if we knew people that were
Least one
doing it.
ministry we have.
Yes, go ahead.
Maybe we can have staff look into it to see if there's something we could link to that they're doing somewhere else, right? That would be easier to share to our Facebook or something like that, right? So staff will look into, they didn't provide information linking us to anything, but we can look into that. If they're sending out these communications, and like you said, we've got a minister of it, there's gotta be something that they're organizing that we could link people to, so we'll look into doing that.
Yeah, because, I mean, my grandfather was Irish. But I'm lucky I know, what my ancestry is.
Yeah.
I certainly don't know Gaelic.
Somebody here,
So-
knows some people that's here.
For Gaelic?
Yeah,
Bug you
I
later.
can't have comments from the gallery, I'm sorry. Too bad. All right, the next is correspondence, information items. The CBYF wrap-up and thank yous came. Any questions on that?
Yeah, what's that stand for?
Community
Building youth futures.
Oh. One of them has been helping me out.
But that's wrapped up now. And then we got a thank you from the WCRL, which is the Western Counties Regional Library. And they were very pleased that we were able to give them money for this year, the extra money they had asked for.
I'm banned from the library at the moment.
How can you get banned from a library?
I have a 1,000-page book and I can't read it in 2 weeks. It took me a few months. So it's an old book. It wasn't easy. They said
You
they'll let me
didn't
back.
think of going
When I bring it
back?
back, they said they'll let me back. They told me.
Yeah, but why didn't you go and get a stamp and just go in every couple of weeks, David?
It's open like 3 hours here, 2 hours there. It's, I never really. I did call them. And she gave me the advice of just
All
leave it
right.
too long and read it.
The only person that ever been fired.
Yeah, I know. I was a library clerk.
Yeah, that's the worst. The next is the new provincial Department of Emergency Management that is being set up through the government.
Is this something to do with how when there's the 2 fires, and
Yes.
there's one fire in rural Nova Scotia and Southwest Nova got left completely while they went to the important people in Halifax? Is that what this is?
Well,
Does it have to deal with that? So
No,
we
no.
also cannot burn
It's
fires?
to do with how much concern there's been in the emergencies that have happened last summer.
Okay.
You can't say.
No, I can't say directly what it's about. Alright.
No.
But if I could, two things on this. So there are some sensitivities growing on this announcement. The search and rescue organizations in the province, I think from what we're understanding, weren't consulted or involved in this. So they're feeling like there's a fair bit of overlap. So there certainly has been some ongoing discussion. I think the minister is doing a call with wardens and staff on Friday to try and explain it a bit more. So we'll see what gets explained there and how he addresses there certainly was an article, there was one article this week in the Herald about this, that search and rescue is a key part of all our REMO activities now and always have been. So there is some question on is this a redundant effort to stand up. Now, adjacent to that, this is a separate department now for emergency management that used to be buried under municipal affairs.
Mhm.
So that is different. Again, that hasn't been flushed out to us as to what that means. It seemed like a good place to be under municipal affairs because we were under that and we're the ones who deliver the emergency management services.
Bruce would be the expert, I suppose.
Yep, Bruce is getting all this. I think it's a lot of transition that wasn't expected. This kind of came quite suddenly out of the legislative session that just ended.
Yeah, we were talking about this just a few weeks ago, and I don't remember any of this being mentioned.
It wasn't.
And when you go on the links, there's nothing, it's just repetitive.
Yeah, it's this letter or versions of this letter are what keeps getting
Sounds
shared.
like
So
they-
we'll learn more, but, yeah, this was all.
I will be on the phone call, or I will be on at the phone call.
Because we need something, because the whole plan obviously isn't working.
And that just, the invitation just came out around lunchtime.
Yeah, that's very last minute even for that session.
The next is the, letter from Honorable John Lohr over service exchange. The biggest thing is they're gonna honor the year, to me, they're gonna honor the year before they download on us.
So this
I don't
is
know for
the-
1 year in
Good news
advance.
before the bad news.
The August agreements or discussions that we had, they just finalized it in the last sitting of the legislation, so this is just the formalizing everything we talked about in August and September,
Yeah.
the government talked about.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about it.
No, that's it, right? So yeah, that's just the notice that they passed the legislation, put into it.
Okay.
Smack that.
There's no in-camera tonight? So I'm going to ask for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carries.
I have
Wow.
email.
Three holes, a boring line. Council's